Hi, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the hands-on training session on Spark AR. Today we have with us Ms. Ayesha Nasim. Ayesha is the campus ambassador at Spark AR, and she will be teaching you how to build your AR effects on Spark AR. I hope all of you have downloaded Spark AR Studio and are ready with your laptops. You can keep building your AR effects along with the workshop and submit your AR effects at the end of the workshop on the hackathon dashboard that will be shared with you in the comment section. Everyone who submits an AR effect will receive a backpack and a certificate from Facebook Spark AR. There's also a chance of winning cash prizes worth $13,000. So don't miss this opportunity and submit your AR effects today. Now, without any further delay, let's start the workshop. Over to you, Aisha.
So, hello everyone, I'm Aisha and I will teach you guys how to create an AR effect today. But before that, I'll dive a little bit into augmented reality and why we should create AR effects. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, so my screen is visible, right?
No, it's not visible, Aisha.
Okay, it should be visible now.
Yes.
Okay, so let me tell you a little about augmented reality and why Spark AR today. So today I'll just be talking a little about augmented reality, a little about AR effects and the career options that you have if you keep creating AR effects, and then we'll dive deep into creating an AR effect. Okay. So what exactly is augmented reality? So, according to the definition that you find online, augmented reality can be defined as a system that incorporates three basic features, that is, a combination of real and virtual worlds, real time interaction, and accurate 3D registration of virtual and real objects. That is, in real life, it displays an image over what is happening in your reality, for example, in your cameras. So, why do we create effects on Spark AR? Well, we choose Spark AR because Spark AR is the only platform to create and publish AR effects for Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. So the Spark AR Studio is the only platform on which you can create AR effects for Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. That is the Facebook family of apps. So, with Facebook's vision for metaverse, Facebook is bringing AR through the one thing that is accessible to all of us. That is the camera on our mobile phones, hence the AR effects. So I'll show you a very cool AR effect that is made by Eddie Adams for Steve Aoki. So you must all know that Steve Aoki is a very, very, very famous musician and a very famous AR creator, Eddie Adams, created an AR filter for Steve Aoki to promote his latest album that is Neon Future 4. So I'll just show you guys the video of how cool that effect. So this also qualifies as an AR effect, and this was built on Spark AR Studio. So let me show you a little more AR effects. So there are a lot of ways you can use AR effects in your daily life. For example, first of it is like you can create an AR effect for a cause to support a cause. For example, this is also created by Eddie Adams to support Black Lives Matter movement. You can also use AR effects for marketing and promotion. So this AR effect that we are going to see right now has used target and object tracking to increase user engagement for an ice cream brand. So let's see how. Whenever it tracks the label of an ice cream brand, of the particular ice cream brand, it shows up. Okay, similarly, we can also create AR effects for fun. That is some fun games. You can see this card game that is also made by using object tracking. So all of these effects that I'm showing you right now have been created on Spark AR Studio. So as you all can see, there is no limit to the amount of creativity that you can put in creating AR effects. Okay, we can also use AR effects for learning because there have been a lot of times when we don't understand stuff. And if showing is better than saying, then doing is better than showing, right? So being actually involved and immersed in an AR effect to learn a new concept would be very beneficial for us. So I'll also tell you a little about the career options that are available for Spark AR. So you can be a software developer if you are very much into the tech field. And if you go on creating AR effects for marketing and promotion and monetizing it, you can become a 3D artist, a software designer, a design architect, or even a system validation engineer. So these are the trending career options that you have right now, but there is no limit to the career options that are available to you if you indulge in creating an AR effect. So these are just the trending career options right now in the industry. So let's just jump into creating an AR effect for now. So for creating an AR effect, what you have to do is go to Spark AR Studio and download the Spark AR Studio in your systems and just open that on your system. So when the studio launches, you'll see this kind of a screen on your system. So you'll have various options like creating a sharing experience that is for photos and videos on Instagram or Facebook, or video calling experience too for Instagram Live or Messenger. Then on this Sparkia Studio, you can also see templates. So you can also use pre-made templates to create various effects regarding like group vote or hand movement, color portrait, face marks, etc. But to have more control over what I'm creating, I'll just create a sharing experience or a blank project, whatever it is. I'll just start with a sharing experience. Okay, so this is what our Spark AR Studio looks like in real life. So in the left, you can see the scene panel that has the device inside it. You have the camera, the focal distance, the ambient lights. So if you zoom in a little, you will see that this is the scene where you can understand it, and this is a simulator in which you can see in real time how your effects are working. In also the left side, you can see the asset panel where you can import textures and 3D objects into Spark AR Studio. So going a little around this thing, If you click on add, you can see a scene understanding where you can add a face tracker, a plane tracker, a target tracker, or a hand tracker. Then for 3D objects, you have plane, null objects, face mesh, etc. For 2D objects, you can have a canvas, a rectangle, or text. And you can also add point lights or spotlights on something that you want. And you can also have a particle system or a speaker. So this is what the SparkAI Studio on and on looks like. In the video section, there are some real-time simulation videos that are already pre-made in the Spark AR, but you can also use your integrated camera to work around with this to see how it looks in real life when you're using it. So for now, since New Year is around the corner, let's just experiment with some effect for New Year, okay? So as you can see here on the scene panel, I'll just click on focus distance and add an object that is my canvas. So the canvas is the main thing where you start off with. In my canvas, I'll add a rectangle and I will rename this as the user. I'll also create another object and add a rectangle within the canvas and rename this as a person. So you can see as you add things in the canvas or basically in the scene panel, it will be something like this, the white and black checked squares, okay? So that is because right now there's nothing as a texture over it, but we'll soon come back to adding things over it, okay? So now what I want to do is, in the first step, let's just have a background replacement, okay? So for replacing the background, what you have to do is, key on the camera, go to the camera, and then you have two options, that is the texture extraction and the segmentation. So from the texture extraction, you can extract the camera texture in real time, and from the segmentation, you have three options: person, hair, skin, etc. So you can just, for now, I'll just add person. So yeah, now this is the user rectangle. You can see it is selected here. Now what I want to do is, when no matter what the size of the device is, I want it to fill the width and fill the height. So I'll just click on width and I'll get an option to fill width. And then I'll click on height and then get the option to fill height. You can see this is the user one and this is the person one. So now what I want to do is, I'll create a material and I'll rename this to user mat. Similarly, for the person, I'll click on the materials, create a new material, and rename this to person mat, BG mat. I'll just rename this to BG. And on the layers, I'll rename this to background layer. And I'll add another layer and call it the person layer. So why we have two layers is because according to the hierarchy, the person should come first and then the background should come, right? So then I go back to my scene panel and now I can see I see nothing but a gray light on my emulator, real-time emulator. So in the user mat, I'll first set the shader type to flat. Now you can see it doesn't depend, the color does not depend on the direction of light. If it's white, it's just flat white. For the texture, I'll choose the camera texture here, and just for the alpha, I'll just choose this to be segmentation texture. So now you can see I have my user back on the screen. Next, for the BG mat, what I'll do is I'll just fill width and fill height again. And for the BG mat also, I'll set the shader type to flat. And for now, I'll just choose a simple color. You can also choose a texture for this. So I'll just choose a dark blue. And when I move the BG up, because according to the hierarchy, now I have my user back on the screen. So now you can see the background has changed. Instead of the color also, you can just import a texture here. Click on new texture and then choose any of your picture from your device or whatever you want, and it will appear instead of this color. You can also choose an animation sequence that will basically be a GIF. So that depends on your creativity entirely. Now that I have my background replaced, what are the other things I can do? So when I think of New Year, 2022 is going to be the year of the tiger, right? So what I'll do is in the focal distance, I'll create a face tracker. And in the face tracker, I'll add a face mesh. So as you can see for right now, it is not clearly visible because it is in the back and we have two layers over here. So what I'll do is I'll create a material for face mesh and I'll call it face map. Now I have my face mat. I'll set the shader type to flat again. And then in the advanced render option, you see the option used depth test. So if I uncheck that, I have my face mesh. So you can see what the face mesh does is it adds a mask over the face over real time. So even when the person is moving here and there, the mask remains the same. So since 2022 is the year of the tiger, I'll import a texture for the face. So I'll just go to add asset. I have this tiger face mesh that I've already created. So I'll just drag it into my textures. And you can see it is compressing for now. So if you want your effects to be in very high quality, you can just turn off the compression to none. So now in the face mat, I go to the texture and click on one, that is my 2022 tiger. And there you can see the tiger has appeared on the face, on the left and the right cheek of the person. So if you have any doubts, you can just keep commenting on the YouTube live and I'll help you guys. So this is how I change the background and I add a face mesh and have two objects on my cheeks. Now, New Year is incomplete without a little glitter, right? Or, yeah. So before adding glitter, let's just add a simple sticker kind of object. So I'll import another material into my Sparkia Studio. And as it is importing, I'll just put the compression to none because I want my filters to be of a very high quality. So now I want the sticker to appear somewhere on the left of somewhere on my left, on the bottom left. So what I'll do is I'll go to the canvas and add an object and click on the rectangle. So as you can see, the rectangle is on the top left. So I can just click on it and move around. So I want it to be somewhere around here. And I'll also increase the size a bit. So for any workarounds, you can do it in this viewport. So I'll just rename it as a sticker because this is what our sticker is. Now for the sticker, I want its texture to be this sticker that I have imported. So what I'll do is I'll create, okay, this is my sticker. I'll create a material for this and create a new material. And I'll then rename it to sticker mat. Make sure you use logical variables for whatever you're importing. Otherwise, it will be very confusing when you yourself work around Sparkia. So in this sticker mat, I set the shader type to flat again. And you can also change this to a color, like whatever color you like. it can be that color, but here I have a texture for it, so I'll just go forward with it. So my texture is named as 5. So as you can see now, my texture has appeared on the screen. Now it only looks like a static object. So I want it to rotate a little. So what I'll do is I'll have my patch editor. So what patch editor does is it basically guides how your effect would look like. It is basically the code. Like in when we program things, we write a code, right? So you want this object to move around. So we'll have it move around. So I'll just click on loop animation. Okay, so whenever you double click on your patch editor, you will get options to choose from a variety of things like animation, audio, body landmarks, device, face, logic, math, whatever you want according to your capability. So after animation, I want a transition. So I'll just click on transition and I have my transition. So I'll just connect the progress to this. And here I have my sticker. So what I want to do is I want the sticker to rotate. Okay, so instead of vector 3, we can have it vector 2 because it is a 2D object. So we just work with X and Y axis. So now I want it to rotate. So I'll just click on this arrow here when it comes to rotation. Or if you think that it is a little too much, you can just click on animate and you see the option to spin, float, blink, or pulse. I'll just show you in a while. Yeah. So if you click on animate, you have spin, float, blink, and pulse. Okay. So let's just see if we click on float. What it has basically done is there's a loop animation and there's a transition. The duration for it is 1. So if I click on 2, you can see it floats slower now. And if I click on 5, it floats even slower. And if I just click on 0.1, then it's basically jumping around. So you can adjust that. For this, I just want it to be 1 for it to float. And you can see the progress of the loop animation is connected to the transitions progress, and then which is connected to the 2D position of the sticker. So that is how it floats. Now, if you wanted for other animations like blink or pulse or spin, then you can do that too. It will just bring out the code in your patch editor. Now, there are a lot of things that you can work with in Spark Studio. For example, you have a scene understanding where we have already used the face tracker. You can also use a lot of other things like hand tracker, face tracker, paint tracker, etc. And when it comes to, okay, yes, you can also have 3D text or 2D text. So I wanted to say Happy New Year, of course, because we are creating an effect for New Year. So see, at any point you feel that you are satisfied with your effect, you can just test it on your device. So on the extreme right of your screen, you will see 3 options, that is asset library, test on device, and publish. So you can just click on test on device and click send. So what it does, it sends a notification to your linked Instagram or Facebook account. You can send it to your Instagram or Facebook. So from there, you'll get a notification on your mobile where you have your Facebook or Instagram opened, and that will be a link to try out your effect in real time. So that's how you can test your device. You can see it says that we have sent a notification to Instagram. Open the app to test your effect. You also have a test link if you use it through Spark App Player. Okay, so now let's just add an object and a rectangle because I want a 3D text. Okay, now let's just work with 2D text for now. And as you can see here, just a second. something like a text appeared, right? So I on the left side of the scene panel, you can see that this is in the layer person. You can change the layer to person or background or whatever you have chosen. And it also has a width and height and the pinning position. So you can just pin it to the top of the screen. Now this says text. So if I say Happy New Year here, it will show Happy New Year. Now I want it to be another font and I want its color to be somewhere like a golden. So yeah, it says Happy New Year. I can also adjust the line spacing according to how I want it, and also the letter spacing if I want it to be a little separated. So this is how I can add 2D text. Similarly, you can also add a 3D text. Now you can see that this text is static. That is, when the user moves its face, it stays in the same place. And now I want it to be attached to the face tracker. Like whenever the person moves his head, the text also moves. So I'll just add it to my face tracker. Okay, for since face tracker is a 3D thing, so let's just add a 3D text here. I'll show you the difference between what a static text is and what a text is that moves along with the face. So you can see, yeah, so when I bring it here, you can see it is extremely large scale. So I want it to be very small. So I'll just click on 10, 10, and 10, but it is still very large. So I'll just make it 1, 1, and 1. As you can see, I'm editing the scale in the left scene panel. And this here is my text. So what happens is you can also adjust the rotation, position, or scale of this 3D object here. So I wanted to say maybe just 2022. And I want it to be, yeah, in some other font. So I can just have it that way. And you can also choose, since it is a 3D object, the front and the side and the back material can be different. So I'll just, I have a material 0 here. So I'll set the shader type to flat again. And then on the color, I can choose any color that I want. You can see it is changing according to that. So I'll just keep it a little yellowish. So you can just rename it as 3D text side. Make sure you always have this habit of renaming your variables very properly so that you don't get confused. Okay, so now let's get back to our 3D text. So as you can see, the same material has been applied to the front side material and the back material, but you can have other material for that. For example, on the back side, there is a blue background, right? And I want that to reflect on the back side of this. So I'll just have it to BG matte. So now this is a 3D text that again is not moving with the face. So I'll just add it to the face tracker. And now you can see that it is moving when the face is moving. But I want it to be a little over the head of the person. So you can see it is moving there too again. But if you check actually, it is very in front of the person, so you can also adjust it. So I can keep it a little back and a little up. So this is the tool to adjust the position of the selected object or objects. This is the tool to rotate the selected object. For example, I can also rotate it a little bit. You can see it is rotating. And this is to edit the scale of the object. For example, if you want it to be a little larger from X, Y, or Z axis. So now you can see the 2022 is moving along. So for now, I don't need this 2D text, so I'll just make it invisible. Now I have a couple of other textures that I can have here. For example, this is just a glitter confetti type. So I'll just add it to my texture. And again, it is compressing it and I don't want it to compress it. So I'll just set the compression to none. So again, to have this texture in my canvas, what I'll do is I'll just have another object and then add another, okay. I'll add another rectangle. Now, since this is like I want the confetti to stay at the top and it is already at the top for now. So what I'll do is I'll just fill the width for it. And I'll just rename this to confetti. I'll create a new material for this. And I'll again rename this to confetti mat. So again, I'll set the shader type to flat. And the texture to the texture I just imported, that is 4. So now you can see that I have this glitter thing over on the top. You can also choose other things for this. And one last very interesting thing that we have in our Spark AR Studio is the particle system. So for now, let's just add effects. So when you go to add and click on effect, you'll get an option to have a speaker or a particle system. So we'll just click on particle system. So to just show you guys the particle system correctly, I'll just have the other things invisible for now on. So this is how you can also change the visibility of everything that you have. And the confetti also. Okay, so let's just add a particle system. So now you can see on the scene, just a second, there's something emitting out of the nose of this person, but it's not actually the nose of this person. So you can see it is here on our scene. So what in the viewport you can see now I want it to start from a little up. It is in the left side, you can see it is emitter zero particle system. You can also rename this to confetti or whatever you want. So it is in the layer person, that is correct, because I want it to be after the background and not before the background. So as you can see, there are a lot of things here, the position, the scale, and the rotation. So the type now for now is point because all the particles are emitting from a point, but we can also have a line, a plane, and a ring. So for now, let's just keep it a line. And you can also adjust the length for this. You can see it is pretty small compared to the screen. So I'll just set it to 2. So you can see it is a little more distant now. So I'll just set it to 1.5. So now it kind of covers the screen. The space can be world or local. So it's just local for now, for the world for now. And then you can also adjust the birth rate for this. So right now it's 20. If suppose I have it 100, then you can see a lot of confettis are like a lot of particles come out at the same time. But 100 is too much for confetti, so let's just set it to 30. And since the direction of this should not be upwards, it should be downwards. So what I'll do is, you can see here, there's a thing called rotate. So now you can see it is falling from upwards. So for whatever adjustment that you have to make, you can make it here in the viewport. And for this particle system, again, you have the scale and the lifespan. So for the lifespan, since it's very short, that is 0.4 seconds, and I wanted to be a little more, that is be there till the end of the screen. So I'll just set it to 1.9. And you can see now it does stay about the end of the screen, but to be a little more, let's just put it 2.5. Okay. Now we can have a material in this emitter. So what I can do is I'll just click on a material, create a new material, and then I'll just rename it to particle mat. So you can see it has now changed because the color is white and the shader type is flat, not flat, it is standard for now. So when I set it to flat, it will again be white. So I can change the color for it. You can see as I select a color, it changes. So since it's confetti, let's just keep it a little golden. Okay. You can also change the opacity here. So as you can see, as I increase the opacity, the particle is more visible, and if I decrease it, it's less visible. Now, when you go back to the emitter, yeah, you can also add a spin to it. And also tilt it a little. You can adjust all of this according to what you require. And for example, suppose you don't want particles to fall down, you want something else to fall down. For example, the texture 5 that I chose for the sticker. So if you choose that, you'll have them falling. And it seems golden because the color here is golden. I'll just set it to white, and you can see that my stickers are falling down. I can also change the scale for this, like this looks too small to me. So I'll just change it to 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. So this is how you work with a particle system. So let's just bring our background back and our user back. For now, let's just have the visible emitter not visible. Our sticker back and 3D text back. So this is how you create an AR effect. I actually showed you guys a lot of things to do. So let's just see if we have some doubts, because I taught you guys a little too much for a 1 hour session. So yes. Okay, so do we have doubts here? So what you all guys can do is you have a lot of things. For example, you are suppose a CSK fan in the IPL season. So you can have that for them to support CSK. You can create an AR effect. And there are similarly, for example, if you have a friend's birthday coming up, then you can create an AR effects to tease him or just for fun. So yes. Okay, Surya and I do the software is sparkarstudio.com. It is available here on sparkar.facebook.com/arstudio and download. So no matter what your background is, whether you are an engineering student or not, it is very easy to create AR effects. So as you can see, this is how we have created effect for New Year. So there are a lot of other workarounds that you can do. In the scene understanding, you have the face tracker, plane tracker, target tracker, hand tracker, and other objects. Okay, so in the end, like right now, I'll show you how to publish your effect. So in the Sparkia Studio, there are two ways you can publish your effect. One thing is on the very right side, you see this publish icon. Okay, so you can click on publish, and then you get an option to update an existing effect. So you are creating a new effect, so just click on publish new effect. Then you have a, a demo video in which you can record your video in real time. So this is how I've recorded it. You can also use your own camera for this, but it won't work because I'm live on StreamYard there. So you can see the it actually meets all the requirements. So I can just click on upload. So when I click on upload, loads it and it will open my Sparkyar Hub in my browser. So you can see it just redirected me to the Sparkyar Hub. Now you can see it says publish an effect and you can give a unique name to your effect. Suppose New Year 2022 because that is the theme of my effect. And you can see here is the AR export file. So whenever you upload an object project, make sure it is an AR export file. You can also find it here when you just click on file and publish. Then you will have an option to either export or upload. So when you click on upload, you can directly upload it from the Sparkyard Hub. It's much easier this way. So you can see it is only eligible for a little, not all the platforms, but only some platform because of the capability that I've used, that is face mesh and the particle, etc. So I'll just enable it for Instagram and Facebook. And you have an option here called audience, which means like whether your effect can be public or a link only. Public means that anyone on Instagram or Facebook that follows you, if you have a public profile, can use your effect. And if you have it link only, then the people who only have the link to your effect can try it on. So as you can see from the categories, I just choose whatever describes my effect. So what I do is, let's just say selfies. And yeah, you can see I uploaded the demo video here. And I won't use this thumbnail. I'll just choose another file. So as soon as it is uploaded, you can see here, this will be the icon for my effect. And for the publication date, I can just publish it as soon as possible and then click on submit. Okay, let's just replace this. So you can choose whatever icon you want for your image. And then when I click on, okay, it says, okay, let's just use a video thumbnail for now. But it's advisable not to use the same video thumbnail as, because this contains the models of Facebook Spark AI, right? So you cannot use this actually, but just to show you guys, I'm telling you how to do this. Make sure that you have another picture here. Let's just try one more time. Okay. Now, when I click on submit, my file will be uploaded and my effect will be published. So it takes a little while depending on the size of your file. So how much time it takes to upload your effect. So as soon as it is uploaded, you can see your effect is now in review. It takes around 1 hour to 5 days to have your effect reviewed. So on the Sparkyard Hub, you can see you have a home. That is, this is your dashboard. And then when you click on effects, you can see New Year 2022 is the effect I just published. So when you click on this, on the top right, you see 3 dots. And this is where you get your effect ID. When you click on copy effect ID, the effect ID will be copied to your clipboard. So this you have to submit 2 things in the hackathon. That is your effect ID or owner ID if it asks for it. And then when you click on share, this is the link to actually try and test out your effect. So you can just copy this. This is the link that you have to use. So other people won't be able to use your effect if it's public and it hasn't been approved yet. But once it is approved, everyone will be able to use your filter. So for any effects that you publish, you can publish a lot of effects. It depends on you. But to find the effect ID, you just have to click on the effect that effect ID you want. And then on the top right, you have 3 dots. So click on that. You'll have the option to copy effect ID or copy owner ID. And when you click on the share, you have an option to copy the URL, and this URL is your effect link. So do we have any questions? Okay, for that, okay, I'll show you guys. Okay, for that face sticker, you can use Photoshop or have PNGs on. You can use Photoshop. You can Google up the PNGs that have free and creative license. But what I do is I use Canva because it is super easy to use. So on the Sparkyard Hub, you'll also see this face reference asset. So, okay. So this is the face reference asset. That is, if I place the object here, it'll show on the face in the actual face tracker. So this is how I placed these 2 objects on the cheeks and then I deleted this. So this is how you can create the texture for the face. And for other effects, I just use the elements from Canva because Canva is super easy to use. But what you can do is if you want something, you can just Google it like New Year stickers PNG. So you can use that PNG file for yourself. You can see there are a lot of options that come up. Okay, so are there any other doubts that you want to be cleared? Hello, Anamika, you're not audible.
Hi, I am I audible now?
Yes, you're perfectly audible now.
Yeah. So I don't see any questions in the chat box now. Uh, Thank you very much, Aisha. I thoroughly enjoyed your session. I would like to, request all the students who have been a part of this session today to submit their effects. As you have seen in the chat, we have mentioned about the Open Innovation Challenge, where you win an opportunity to, get rewards worth 13,000 USDs. So your effects are very very valuable for you, and that's what we really look forward to. um, I am so tempted to say this, but I have always felt that our language is gives us an impression of our upbringing. And if you want to know what kind of language you've been using in the chat, you know it better. So I would leave you with the thought that please, what kind of impression you're leaving us with. So thank you very much. Let's look forward to your effects now. Thanks. And Aisha,
Thank
thank you very much. I'll connect with you after this.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I had a good time.
Thank you.